Hi, everybody, and welcome to Cold Reads. This is the very first episode, and as with many first episodes, there are going to be a lot of things that go wrong. So if you're watching, thank you so much for your patience and for just being here. This is a new venture for me, so let me first introduce myself. My name is Laura Nicole. I am an author, creator, audio editor, primarily voice actor, and I have a lot of mad ideas in July because that's when most people have the most free time, and so they take vacation, and I generally don't. So I think of other things to do. And I posted on my Facebook page this like a week and a half ago. Hey, wouldn't it be cool if there was a show that I did where we did a cold read of something? And part of me was doing that because my show, Stonebriar Casefiles, which is a book. See, it's a pretty, pretty book. It's gorgeous. My book is out. It's been out for a year. I've been trying to finish the audiobook and have not been successfully doing so. I got stuck after, I think, chapter 16. Everything's recorded. It's just finding the time to edit it with everything else. So I thought that doing cold reads would be a great way to finish getting at least some raw audio out there, and also to get my voice actor and writer friends on it after Stonebriar is done, so that we can talk about voice acting. We can talk about the pros and cons of it going forward. Now, I didn't want to do this by myself. I mean, I will have to sometimes, but one of my dearest friends in the podcasting, writing, new media universe just happened to be available tonight, and so he has graciously decided to join us. So say hello to Scott Roche.
Hello.
And Scott, tell us about who you are.
Well, I am an author and a podcaster. I've been writing seriously for about the last 7 years, podcasting since probably 2008, 2009. And I have been an editor, a publisher, and a social media guru for various publishing outlets. And I love making audiobooks and doing voice acting.
Awesome. And so now, so what we're going to do, first of all, is talk about what's wrong with this recording, so that anybody who's like, oh, I can hear this, that, or the other thing, we can address it right now. So let's first talk about how neither one of us is in a soundproof booth.
Yes.
Yes, I am in my brand new house that me and 2 other people went in on. And so living here, there's barely anything on the walls except for my production schedule, which you can't, well, I can show you. Production schedule. Secondly, I have all the windows open. I did turn my fan off, but it is hot. So that is kind of recreating some of the things you get in the vocal booth. I am not using a professional microphone. I am using my laptop microphone, and this is partially because I am still unpacking. And I'm using earbuds instead of noise canceling headphones. Scott is awesome, and he has the lovely earphones that you can see there on his head.
Yes.
What are you using for a microphone? Oh, shiny.
Yep.
Are you using your Zoom?
Yep, I've had this Zoom H5 for I guess about a year now, and I love it. I love it a lot. Um, it lets me do so much that my original Zoom, which was just the I guess H1, uh, wasn't uh, prepared for. Like it lets me do phantom power, and it's got two outputs for XLR, and it's got a great XY axis mic built into the top. And mostly I use it for conventions, but I also do use it to record my audio fiction. And I used it to great extent at Balticon this year because I actually got to use the XLR inputs at the uh, live audio drama that we did, uh, Insomniac's Theater. So
Nice. Um,
very handy little device.
so I would like to point out that I am hydrating with my chalice that I made in
Oh,
honor of Firefly. So it says, "I am a leaf on the wind. Watch how I soar."
very nice.
And also, it's got a whole bunch of other quotes, including the bottom one, which um, says, "I swear by my pretty floral bonnet, I will end you."
Cute.
All right, so I am hydrated. I do have my windows open now. So what we're going to be reading today is the prologue for Stonebriar Casefiles. And I'm going to go ahead and share it. Let me see if I can do share just this application. Alrighty. Can you see that?
I can.
Great.
It's a little small, but I can see it.
It's a little small. Um, there we go. Everything's about me today. Just kidding. So you can kind of tell where your lines are, Scott, because I have highlighted them for you.
Mm-hmm.
Scott is going to be playing the part of Detective Jack Haggerty, or John Haggerty, sorry, and I will be doing everything else. So, without further ado, I guess here we go. Prologue. Again? Really? I shouted aloud. Humans were very clever about technology, but there was always a way to lose the work that took time to compile. Scott, can you mute yourself for a little bit?
Sure.
Awesome. Okay, it's a recording thing. All right, cool. And just because we've already broken the fourth wall, when you see it's your line coming up, go ahead and unmute yourself. Thumbs up. Great. All right, here we go again. Whenever you restart a line, you want to start at the beginning of the paragraph. Prologue. Again? Really? I shouted aloud. Humans were very clever about technology, but there was always a way to lose the work that took time to compile. Something strange had been going on with the computer system. Each time I pulled up the files of the murders I had been working on, there would be pieces that I would have to go back and replace. Thankfully, I always kept backup notes on my thumb drive. This was the fourth time that I had been forced to copy my notes in again. So before I hit save, I took a look to see who was the last person to edit the case. J.M. Hagg was listed. That was a little odd. Why would Haggerty be editing my files? I thought aloud. Then it hit me, along with the door of my office slamming shut. There, on the other side of the room, was Detective John Haggerty, his blue eyes bright with rage, and his blonde hair slightly disheveled. I clicked save and made an effort to control my fear. If he didn't know I was on to him, perhaps he would leave me alone.
Working late again, Trix?
He asked with a soft tone that belied what spoke volumes in his appearance. Just saved what I was working on. I think I'm I think a good night's sleep is just what I need to clear my head. I tried to be casual as I scanned the room, looking for a way to get out, since the door was shut. Is there something I can do for you? I smiled wearily.
You can stop playing dumb for starters.
He said, crossing his arms.
I can tell by your little light, that you know. I can tell by your little light that you know.
Glancing at my monitor, I was able to see a blurred reflection of myself. My fairy light was gold, with a hint of red, showing my fear and anger. Damn it, why did fairies have to be... Damn it, why did fairies have to... Wow, I wrote a really weird sentence. Damn it, why did fairies have to have their emotions broadcasting to the world? All right, fine. Why? Why would you kill magics? What purpose would it serve?
You're not natural.
He growled.
None of you are. Why did you have to come out of the woods and stories of old? Everything and everyone was just fine until you showed up.
Not natural? I shouted back. Not natural is the computers and the cars and the technology that is killing the world we all live in. And the cars. He slammed his hand down on the desk, his knuckles white from the force.
We were doing just fine until all you loathsome freaks started crawling out of the woodwork.
But his words were so forced that spittle covered my face. I tried not to throw up.
And now look at what you've done. My son is off on some ridiculous quest to win over an elven slut who looks down on everyone.
But killing them? You can't justify murder. He was beyond reason at that point. But I thought I would try it anyway. He lowered his voice, but the menace still pouring out. Wow. But the menace still pouring out with each word.
I did what I had to in order to protect my own.
So did you decide to get sloppy? Did you want me to find out?
You were getting inconvenient, finding things that normal people wouldn't, poking around where you don't belong.
I stood my ground on the desk as he knelt to become eye level with me, that stupid smile still scrolling across his face.
May I make a confession to you, Beatrix Stonebriar? I never believed in fairies.
In that instant, I felt every nerve in my body collapse. The light around me was dimming, and I struggled to suck down any air. This made John laugh heartily.
Oh, that was too easy. Of all the sick and twisted little creatures that I have killed, your kind are the most pathetic. Just a few little words and...
He mimed, choking and falling to the floor. If I could have moved, I would have taken all of my fairy powers and shoved him out the window. Just as the light around me started to dim, a crash came through my door. There were incoherent shouts, telling John to get on the floor. Over the calamity of voices, there was something else. Another person broke through the swarm of policemen. I could hear my friend Dorian calling out to me. No. You can't die, Beatrix, he sobbed. We were supposed to go to breakfast together and talk about alchemy and plants. Oh, what was it the story said to do? I wanted to help Dorian figure it out, But my sight was darkening, and the lack of inner light was slipping from my mind. Goodbye, my friend, I thought, and let the darkness envelop me. But it didn't. I felt like I was in a long corridor, going toward a new destination, since nothing was left behind me. That's what I thought, until I heard the drumming. It was slow at first, one beat, then another. Two drums continued the cadence, which made me turn. Was something going on back there that I was missing? The more I turned back, the louder the drumming was. But it wasn't drums. They were hands, clapping together in a syncopated rhythm. The light grew around me. It was harsh and painful, but I could breathe again and feel my body. With effort, I was able to come back, thanks to the faith of my friends and coworkers who all stood behind him. I said the first thing I could think of. How did you know I was in trouble? Dorian was the first to speak up. Detective Haggerty wanted me to report all of my findings on the triple homicide only to him, which I thought was very odd. As protocol states, I give results both to the detective and the lead CSI. I went to his office to find him and smelled something bitter. There were flakes of belladonna on his desk and other ingredients needed for that vanishing potion on his shelves. I called for Liza and a few others, and then I saw him close the door to your office, so I got help. I flitted up to his forehead and kissed it. Thank you for believing. I get a fairy for a friend. Science can prove anything is possible. And that is that. So yeah, that was the prologue. And as I stated, there would be mistakes. There are writing mistakes in there. Yes, I know. And I have wonderful friends and fans who have emailed me a list of edits, which I will be putting together. I have like a whole email file or a whole file on my email of fan edits, which I'm waiting until I get a certain amount, and then I'm just going to put them all through and then make a second edition of the book. So what did you think?
That's the great thing about self-publishing. You get a lot more control over that, because with a traditional publishing model, even with those mistakes getting noticed, which they'd still happen on some level, it would take longer to get that rectified.
Mm-hmm. So how did that feel for you?
That felt good. One of the things that I like about that character is it's fun to sort of chew scenery with and be a little melodramatic.
Oh yeah, and my favorite character to play is a bad guy. I love being a villain. It's so much fun. I can't wait to introduce you guys to this character named Vervain Oakroot. If you follow Game of Thrones, she's basically Lady Olenna as a fairy.
Okay.
And I very much enjoy her.
Nice.
So Scott, what I should have done was give you some notes beforehand, some directorial notes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mostly that he's haggard. That's part of the reason why his name is Haggerty. and the other reason is he's named after a teacher I didn't like. Yeah, he's very haggard, and he's tired. He's tired of all of these things that just don't make sense to him. He misses the old days. And so were I directing you, those were things that I would probably say would have enhanced the performance. But the performance was really good. Was there anything that felt particularly difficult for you, or anything that you heard that could have been better?
Hmm. In general, or in terms of what I did, or
in general, or in
uh,
terms of what you did. This is the discussion part of cold reads.
I think I think that, and I mean, this was totally cold. I mean, I have listened what you've put out so far, and I believe I was one of the beta readers for this, if memory serves.
You were.
So I was familiar with the characters already, which helped. But I hadn't read or listened to it in quite a while. So I think that for me, yeah, it would have helped to have. I think it's always good, particularly with main characters, not so much with side characters, to give your voice actor an understanding of what that voice sounds like in your head.
Right.
Like if you can compare it to another character in media, like if I had the ability, I kind of envision Haggerty sounding like the I can't remember his name, but if you've seen Breaking Bad, he's sort of the enforcer for Sal,
Yeah, I have
and
not seen Breaking
he's a
Bad.
famous character. He's a famous character actor. But anyway, yeah, it's definitely got that sort of world weary voice and
Yeah.
character. I think in general, I love your voice for Beatrix. There's with the other character Dorian, who
Mhm.
is autistic, if memory serves.
Yeah,
Um,
he has Asperger's, so he talks fast, he's highly intelligent, and kind of goes off on a tangent a little bit. I think
yeah,
we should probably say that when this story was written, it was written for when we were both members of Flying Island Press.
for our pieces of eight. Uh,
We did a Autism Speaks issue
mhm.
where each of our stories had to have a character in it that had some degree of autism.
Yep. It can be tough to nail a character voice because my son is on the spectrum, and he's got a unique cadence to his voice, and it's anytime you're doing a character that's got some sort of affect, it can be a challenge to do that without sounding like you're
Making fun of them.
making fun of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think he did a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, he I guess a question for you and as an actor, as a voice actor,
Mhm.
when you're doing characters who are of a different gender, how hard do you work on lowering your voice, trying to make it more masculine? Because I
So
have a lot of feminine characters that when I do a reading, I do more when it's my work. I do more of a reading and less of a voice acting audio drama type approach. But I'm always
right.
interested.
Um, sorry, I'm also like it's really hot, and so dehydration and cold things, and I have a little cooler right next to me. Um, so when I do male voices, I do put my voice more in my alto range, but I more think of what kind of a man is he? Like, is he a foppish man? Is he a very um, burly, gravelly? I don't take any crap from anybody. I will apologize to my listeners. I do occasionally swear. It happens. I'm sorry if it offends you. I can give a million excuses, but this is just who I am. Okay? Okay. All right. Anyway, and we also may be covering adult content as the show progresses, so be warned. Anyway, so I try to embody the personality more than the tone. Um, so yeah, my voice does get a little low, but if I'm playing um, a male character that has a very sing-song voice, I will probably still stay in my lower register, but it's more about the personality, and I absolutely will not force a low voice.
That makes sense.
I tried it, and it sounded absolutely unnatural, and not at all like what I wanted the character to be like. I did learn from some other authors who did do things in, like, I know of a male author who shall remain nameless, but
Is it one I
he,
share a name with?
it is one you share a name with, who did a few characters in one of his, I think it was his first audiobook, and he did some female characters in a falsetto, and it was very hard to listen to. Going back and listening to a different book where he refused to do a falsetto and just did the affectation um, well, what vocal qualities does a woman have other than the register? And that was a much better performance.
I do tend, when I'm doing female characters, I do tend to put, I do tend to use my head voice a little bit more. So I don't really try and go up too high in my own register, but I do go up into my head voice a little bit more when I'm doing female characters.
I find that female characters have much more of a gentler delivery, unless they are a specific archetype where they are trying to be manly, for whatever reason. And I find that male characters have come across better when there's much more of a forceful delivery. So if I'm talking very gently to you like this, you can probably tell that I am playing some kind of a female character. Whereas if I am being very forceful and to the front and having every word enunciated very articulately, I'm either very angry or playing a very forceful man.
Right.
So, but that's my experience. Every other voice actor is different, and I will be having more voice actors on in the future. So it's getting about to that time where we're going to wrap up. So Scott, where can we find all about you?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter, which, although these days is a vast wasteland, I still poke my head up there from time to time.
Me too.
At Spiritual Tramp, you can find the links to all of my stuff, books, podcasts, Patreon page, etc., at scottroche.com, and that's SCOTTROCHE.com.
Great. And I am Laura Nicole. You can find me at resonantmoon.com. You can find me on Twitter at Laura Nicole, or no, at L Nicole Audio, right? Is
Are
that
you
right?
asking me what your Twitter handle is?
I am asking you what my Twitter handle is because I don't know.
Oh, man.
You can search for Stonebriar Casefiles on Facebook. I will be making a Facebook page for this as well. You can also email me if you have suggestions or you want to be on the show at lauranicoleaudio.gmail.com. Yeah, and that's really about it. Thank you so much for viewing this inaugural episode of Cold Reads, and this YouTube show is covered under Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial 3.0 license, which means that you can share it, you can link back to it, you just can't edit it, and you have to link everything back to this page. So please do, because I would love to have this be popular and, talk about cold reads of various stories. If you got a story that you want us to read, if you are a voice actor and you want to workshop doing some cold reads, that'd be fun. If you do want to send me a submission, try to keep it to 2 pages. And again, that email is lauranicoleaudio@gmail.com. Again, for Resonant Moon, this is Laura Nicole. Thank you so much to my guest, Scott Roche, for lending his voice. And tomorrow we will be back with chapter 1. Will I have a guest? Won't I have a guest? You'll have to tune in to find out. Bye. Say bye, Scott.
Bye, Scott.